Well, we're on to chopping the doors. So I put these tape marks on here when I did the original kind of, I'm eyeballing it to see how much I want to take out of the roof. I may use the bottom of it for reference. I kind of put that at the part of the door where there was the least amount of taper, so that when I bring this part down here, that it will line up as best as possible. And I, of course, was just kind of eyeballing it. I didn't measure that. But in any case, I think what I'll do is I'll just cut along the bottom, and I'll take the top of the door off. I'll close the door, number one, make sure it still closes and latches. That would be super cool. And then after I've done that, I'll cut this somewhere in the middle. I'm sure that most of the people watching this have seen a chop before, so I'm gonna need to lengthen this just a little bit. It won't be too much, I don't think. But in any case, I will shut the door, then I'll take the top quarter here and the top quarter here, kind of line them up, make sure that I have a decent gap back here. And then once I have that, I will tack the top of the door on there, find out what my gap is, and use a portion of this to fill that gap. So it's kind of where it sets right now. So obviously being a 4-door, I just created a lot more work for myself. But in any case, it's going along so far, so far so well. So let's keep working. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of eyeball where I want this to line up with my drip rail, and then I'm going to put a mark on here where I need to cut this. Probably I'll cut it a little bit long so I can, kind of adjust by bringing this down if I feel like I can always, it's a lot easier for me, I think, to cut a little bit more than to try and fill too much of a gap there. So I'm just going to kind of see where my gap is here, see where the gap is there. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of follow that line, and then I'll kind of bring it back up here, mock it up, see how it looks. I'll grind off some of the paint so that I can put a couple tacks on there to hold it in place. I don't know if it's going to need to lean in a little bit. And then the same thing on the front. Well, I think where I got it right now, I'm gonna do a little bit more trimming, and then we'll kind of tack it in there so I can mock that up, get a look at the side of the door here, do the same thing on the front. So I'm gonna keep working on this. I'll just put it on time lapse so you don't have to watch me struggle as much as I am. All right, so got those tacked in. That looks pretty darn good. I think the amount of the chop really comes through now that you can see that we got the doors back on there. You really see how much that 4 inches was that we took out at the beginning. So this is just part of this support back here on this part of the window frame. I only have about 1 inch there, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna cut about 1 inch out of this. I'm just gonna mark it here. No, that's kind of it. Gonna make a cut. Right about there, I'll take this little bit out. Now there's some funny construction in there. I'll have to take some of that stuff out. I'll just use the skin of this. I might reinforce with a little bit of metal on the inside there as well once this is cut and put in there. So basically right now I'm going to cut this, I'll clean it up and then tack weld it in there as well. Then I'll come back and I'll finish doing the welding on all of that stuff. So, and then, do it 3 more times because 4 Well, here's one door temporarily put together. I think that, you know, as I said, once you put the door tops on, it really lets you know how much chop you did. And I think that looks pretty cool. So basically, you kind of saw this. There's my little patch right there. Obviously just a few tacks holding that in. On the inside, I got to work on this bit here, but it's held together. You know, a couple little tacks on the front part of it here on the B-pillar area, a few tacks here on the back. So I'm gonna keep working on this side here, and I'll get back to you when I've got a little bit more work done. It's gonna be the exact same process on the other doors. So what I'll probably do is a little bit of time lapse here and there, just so you can see the progress. But ultimately I'll come back and kind of check back when I've got all the tops back on. Well, here we are, about 4 hours of work in, which again, maybe I'm just slow. This isn't my profession, but I think we got the door gap pretty okay. The body, I guess, came back together pretty well. Got the door tops chopped here. So it's gonna be kind of hard to see in the garage here, but I think that, you know, definitely shows you the amount of chop when you get the profile view here. So pretty satisfied with that. Definitely a lot more to do, because even though it looks like these things are put together, I just have a bunch of tack welds in there. Let me open the door here. So I had to put a little patch in that bit there. I'm also gonna have to fill in some other gaps and things like that, like on the sides of the door here. So lots more work to go. This one here came together pretty well, but then I got gaps kind of like that that'll need to be worked on, filled in. But in any case, like I said before, you know, for my first time doing a 4-door suicide door chop, we're getting along pretty well. So that's gonna do for tonight. I'll be back after it. I don't know, maybe another day this weekend. Maybe it'll be sometime during the week. But in any case, forward progress, looking good. So just wanted to do a little point of view from the driver's seat. Here's with the doors done. So I think it looks pretty cool. Looks like an awesome chop as far as I can tell. So I'm gonna be pretty satisfied with this, even though I have like 8,000 more years of welding left to do. In any case, that's where she stands for now. I think the thing that's even gonna give me more hard time, I have vent windows to do as well. So, awesomeness. In any case, that is one more night down. So the other thing I have to take care of is the drip rail here, which is hard to focus on, but in any case, I'm gonna have to fill in a patch there on the front, above the front door, and back there above the rear door. And what I came up with, at least, you know, in my brain, what I was thinking is, about some of this, it is just mild steel tube, like such, nothing fancy, but I think what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and get the camera to focus on that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this I'm gonna cut about 1/4 of this out, so I'll have the majority of the circle, and then I'm gonna squish it, I'm gonna pinch it down, probably hit it with a hammer, bring those two things together so it kind of more resembles that profile there, and then I'll see what happens, tack it in there, and see if it actually kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. Who knows? I have no idea. Never seen anybody do this, so I'm kind of making it up as I go. All right, so basically I just have my little magnets holding that little segment in there. I'm gonna put a little tack on either side, and then I'll get the underside of it, and then I might have to fill in the back there a little bit. But looks pretty good so far. I'll take it. Well, honestly, that worked way better than I thought it would. That was only about 10 minutes there. So got the drip rail redone. I think that, you know, overall, again, for what it is, pretty satisfied. So I'm gonna do the rest of it. And I don't need to bore you with seeing that same exact process 4 times, but anyways, that's how I fixed the drip rail there. And next step will be this bit here on the passenger rear door, exact same thing, just a smaller chunk. And then I will get the car turned around, clean up the garage a little bit, and I will do this exact same process to the driver's side. Well, here's the update for the driver's side. So I didn't figure anybody wanted to watch me do that again, so I got these little patches filled in for the drip rail, got the door tops cut off. Maybe I'll just do a time lapse of that whole process of cutting and fitting them, but I think it's coming together. Looks pretty dang sweet as far as I'm concerned. Well, I didn't do this on the other door, but I figured I would try and be a little bit more accurate since this will be the driver door I get in and out of, and I'll see all my mess ups. So in any case, I got a little tack on the back and on the front. And then what I decided to do is I just took some clamps, a little bit of angle iron there, and I just wanted to line that up as best as I could. So I got it clamped on the top part of that, and I put my little square on there. Looks like we got it pretty well lined up as far as the, you know, straightness of the top of the door is concerned. Hopefully that means it lines up pretty well when I tack it together. So I'm gonna put my little piece in here that I cut out. I also did that a little bit different than the other side. I took apart this portion of the door. That way I got this height here a little bit better. Yep. So that's what I'm gonna do next. So I'm gonna tack that in there and hopefully this door is kind of loosely put together and we'll keep moving. So here's the patch that I put in from the backside, and I just have another piece that was cut away from that other part I used before, and I got just my magnets on it right now. I'm gonna put the clamps back on it with that angle iron just to keep this angle straight. You can see that, that little bit right there, it's a little bit high. So I'm gonna clamp this together. You can see there's a little bit of flex in it. And then I can run weld along here and on the back side of that as well. So I'll get that secured in here now. Well, here's the end of my Monday night, I guess it is. So, got the driver door pretty well, pretty well done, but there's, I gotta do the seams on the inside of the door here, but I did patch that in pretty well, I think. Nothing's super pretty, but it's gonna hold the door together. More gaps to fill up here. But in any case, it does close. Does latch pretty well. It's tough to see with the lighting, but it is a fairly even gap up there. It's about, I don't know, 5/16 of an inch up until you get up here where it gets really close, less than a 1/4 inch, but building a rat rod, so who cares? Anyways, I think that it's looking pretty sweet. Last one to do is the back driver's side door, and I'll get after that sometime later this week. All right, well, so here we are. It's now Thursday. So it's been a few days since I had a chance to get out here and work on this. Everything's going along pretty well as far as I can tell with the doors and the door tops. So as you can see, it's actually super nice outside, which is a total change from what we've been dealing with. So I'm gonna get after doing the rear window here on the driver's side. Hopefully I'll finish that up today, and then the door tops will all be on, or tacked at least. I think what I'll do then is I'm gonna take them off of there and I'm gonna lay them on their sides so I can kind of get in and make sure that everything's filled in where there were gaps before, so that I have pretty solid construction. Outside of that, then I'm gonna have to decide what to do with the front window here, because this is actually where the window ends for the front door. And I would need to figure out how to chop my little vent window, or I might just extend the gap here on the inside part of the door frame so that I can have one long skinny window as opposed to a short and stubby fixed window and then a short and stubby vent window. But anyways, that's future Adam problem. For right now, I'm gonna get after the rear door here, and hopefully I've got all this finished by the end of today. So we'll get after it. All right, well, doesn't it figure that the last door would be the problem child? So what I was doing there when I was kind of struggling, I was trying to fit into this contour here. So when I put my window back in, I can only get to that far. Now my gap up top is okay. That, though, is terrible. And what is happening is this part of the window frame here is bumping into this part here. Now this is the only door that has happened on. My doors shut perfect on this side, so I don't think that I'd messed the B-pillar up at all. So the only solution that I can think of right now is I either have to relief cut in there, or I think what I'm gonna do, might be better, is I'm going to, this area here, I'm gonna cut this and knock that part down, because this is just on the inner part of the door structure. It's not gonna interfere with where the window goes or anything. And so I'm gonna cut that so that I have clearance here and my door can shut. I mean, that's pretty tight there. If I look at this one, well, unless I was inside looking at it, it's tight, but I mean, it closes okay. The doors swing and close nicely. The line, you can see my little paint line here. Everything is lined up for where I had it before. So I'm not really sure why the last window wanted to be a pain in my ass, but nonetheless, that's what I got to do to fix this corner. And then I guess I'll find out if that one's bad as well. So to be announced. Let's see what happens. Well, anyways, I don't know what the major malfunction was there, but you can see I just made some relief cuts in there. Got some pretty nasty gapola, but in any case, I'm gonna clean that up, kind of weld that back together. But when I do put that on there now, it does match up, and the door now closes, and it will work. So I'm gonna clean this up here a little bit, work on that. Probably don't need to watch me do that, and then I'll put the top back on there. All right, well, so this rear door top here, that was the worst. So figures the last door was the worst one. In any case, where I left you was I had made those relief cuts in this area here. Kind of, you can see where they were. So I made relief cuts like this, and then one right along the inside of it so that I could pound this area in and fold this back. So it just kind of changes the profile of that. Not super pretty, but functional. Got this door top back on. So everything lines up pretty well. You know, it took a little bit of messing around, cutting and recutting. And of course, when I put it on there, there was like a dip in the middle. So clearly when I welded this section on, that was leaned down ever so slightly. That one was leaned down. So in the middle, it did this. So then I had to cut this area again, and I then I had to cut my spot welds on the inside part of the door frame, and then I had to push this up to get the gap even all the way along the top there. So anyways, of course, the last door on this side, well, on the car itself, was really a pain in my ass. But in any case, I think that it looks pretty cool. So I'm pretty satisfied with this amount of chop. I think it'll look even more awesome with some windows in there. But in any case, that is where I am leaving it on Thursday night.